instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Well, here we go. Here we go. Another episode of the Flagstick Podcast. Sponsored again this week by Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tiered accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. Book golf vacations and tee times at golfpei.ca. Make sure you're following us across all social media networks, all of them. Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And we really encourage you, very highly encourage you, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell, make sure that you never miss a single episode. Here we go. Well, this is it. And this is the week. This is the week. We talked a little bit about
the week for what? Like fixing or cleaning up ice in our driveways?
I don't know if it's gonna stop.
I don't know, man. Freezing rain for a couple of days.
I got a teenage son that's literally ticked to the gills because he's in the middle of exams, as is your daughter, and he's prepared. Like, you're preparing for exams, you're psyched, you're ready, you're good to go, and it's like, it's another snow day. It's like the only thing. Any other time, exam week, any other time, it's like snow day, let's go, snow day. Get to sleep in, stay home, chill, play some video games, hang with the buds, whatever. This week it's like, no, I want to get this, I want to get it over with. I don't want to drag it out. Like, now it's dragging through the weekend. And because obviously there's no writing exams over the weekend, though they should consider that. They do it in college. My oldest pointed out to me that he had an exam at 8:00 in the morning on a Saturday. So I said,
dice.
Doesn't work
and
that
of course, way. And of course, while we're enduring that, we have to endure our friends and colleagues.
Oh yeah, are they really our friends if we have to endure what they're? You have to ask yourself that question when you make that statement, Scott. Look, our friends or our colleagues?
Hey,
if they're digging us,
we have a choice. They're not. I'll be truthful here. There's not a lot of them have been digging or throwing it in, my face at least. But certainly the PGA merchandise show is on this week, and they're actually having good weather, or they did. So, mid 20s, high 20s, which, some years we've been down there where all of a sudden it's like,
zero,
it's freezing, zero, terrible weather. Might find a few Canadians in shorts, just being crazy or whatever. But yeah, they've had great week this week as far as weather, and it's been fun to follow. We have Grant Fraser, who's been down there shooting photos and stuff for us, and we've been sharing some of that content. And then, obviously we've been posting a lot of product content across our social media channels as a result of it. But we will get into that later on.
Oh yeah. We will indeed get into that. For sure. I mean, it is a fun week down there. I mean, I do miss it a little bit. Not just because of the weather, not just because of the weather and stuff, but it's kind of, it was always sort of I don't know.
What's the Super Bowl of golf industry, right?
You get away, you get that atmosphere, even though, a good chunk of what's displayed in that show is just garbage, but
there is an element of that.
But then there's a lot of which is not garbage,
for sure. So, and I think it's over the last number of years, and we've talked about it a little bit, it's it's become a relationship show more than anything. It's going 100%. Down and seeing everyone. It's there's other things besides equipment, be it travel or technology or fashion. Like, there's lots of other things going on. There's lots of other events outside of the show.
What's the galas and the gala things and the gatherings and the little parties and stuff. Like, we're not talking about the old school Hard Rock Cafe parties.
Oh no.
We're talking much smaller group gatherings, dinners, getting together for drinks, just hanging out, at 10 o'clock at night or whatever at one of the patios or the bars or whatever. I mean, just chilling. I mean, that's That's kind of what it is. It's, you do
Yeah.
your business during the day. You go
Yep.
crazy. It's a lot of walking, a lot of talking, but then at night you just kind of,
Go out, see
take
some
off the
stuff.
tie and go unwind kind of
I,
thing.
I,
And
I will say I did participate in one of the events I normally do, the Open Forum, which is the golf education seminar that's put
Mhm.
on the Tuesday night. They actually streamed it this year for their 10th one. They were doing a test of it, so as a result of it, they weren't charging for it. So I will say Tuesday night. By Wednesday morning, I needed a lot of coffee because Tuesday night it went from 5:30 until 11:30.
Oof.
I was
Wow.
sitting online for 6 hours watching some great presentations and discussions and things regarding coaching, teaching, education. So that was fun. So in a way, I got to participate a little bit as well, and thanks to a number of friends, they passed on photos and videos, and I was getting all sorts of texts from people seeing certain things on the show floor and so forth. So almost felt like I was there, but
Almost
didn't have to deal with the airport, didn't have to deal with hotels, didn't have to deal with anything else. So
renting
not a bad thing.
cars. The
Yeah,
good thing
but
is
did
you do feel like you're here, and
yeah.
and we do have to get into this a little
Yeah, we
bit.
do.
So let's kind of get into it a little bit. Obviously on the front nine, we're as usual, we're going to get caught up on some of the latest news. Some tour talk, updates, some Canadian related news, and on the back nine, we're going to talk about the PGA
Yeah.
merchandise show, and play a little bit of a game. I I was going through the notes. I saw the game. I'm like, I'm going to suck at this, but anyway. Let's get to the front.
I want to hear your answers. So
Yeah,
anyways, we'll get to it though.
let's get to the front nine. Presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season is closer than you think. You don't want to start. You don't want to wait to start preparing for the upcoming season. Buy a membership, join a league, purchase some game packs, and get ready to hit the first tee in the spring. Visit metcalfgolf.com to shop for those now. Okay,
You got her.
so let's kind of dive in. Oh, I did it.
Dive. You
Ah,
didn't. No
no.
diving.
I was
No
really hoping that
diving.
I would make it through
The
a
year?
season of the podcast without
uh,
doing it, but I did it. Ah,
no
what an
diving.
idiot.
No
God,
diving.
so stupid. So stupid.
All
Okay.
right. Beyond the
Um,
cliches.
Brooke Henderson.
Yeah. Good start to the year. I mean,
Yes.
Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions. Obviously, she was the defending champion there. Had a little bit of a slow start, but ended up, boosting her way up the leaderboard. Ended up finishing third. So, nice one for her there. Picked up 120 grand. And as I noted, I don't know if anybody pays attention to this, and it's a stat that not everybody loves or anything, but it was her 74th career top 10 on the LPGA tour. Now, understand this is now the start of her 10th season on the LPGA tour. But if you think about that, if any professional player was averaging 7 top 10s a year, that's pretty damn good.
Hmm.
And now she's actually 25 back of the career mark set by Laurie Kane, who obviously had a very distinguished career on the tour, who actually had 99 top 10s on her career. Super
And
consistent.
how long did Lori Kane play on the tour?
Well, I mean, many years. Now she came to the tour later. You
Right.
should understand, right?
Yes.
She didn't turn pro until I think Lori was 29 when she
Yeah.
turned pro, and just played her last Canadian Open here in Ottawa, a couple years ago. So yeah, pretty consistent career, and obviously Laurie knows that at some point Brooke is going to break that mark, but that was a good start for her. I
Hmm.
think that's a real positive. I think she needs that little bit of a boost. She's looking forward to a good year, and there's no better way to do it than if you got a small field to start with. There's
Hmm.
only 36 players to have a strong finish within that. So hopefully that's a good sign of things to come.
Yes, yes. No, I was just curious that, if you start throwing another stat out there as to when she does get to break that record, does
Hmm.
she do it in significantly less time
Oh
than
yeah.
Lori
Oh
did
no.
it?
Oh no. Clearly she will. I mean, the pace that she's on right now. I mean, she's basically on a pace right now that she'll break that in her 13th year. So,
Yeah.
which by far is although I will say I'll have to look and do the comparison. But if we look at the meat of Lori's career, she probably accomplished those 99 in probably 16 or 17 season. So obviously they came pretty quickly for her from a consistency standpoint. But on the other side, Lori had 4 LPGA Tour wins and Brooke already has 13. So that changes things as well. So
sure, for sure.
yeah.
Okay. Something else with Brooke. She recently
Yeah.
appeared in a video with a YouTuber.
Yeah. Did you catch this at all, or you haven't
No,
seen this yet?
not. Oh,
Okay.
I caught the post.
Yeah. So we've got it up on the
Yeah.
website if people want to check it out. And so it's interesting. Not everybody follows YouTube golf, but one of the more popular ones is Micah Morris. Now he's a sponsored athlete, a TaylorMade sponsored athlete like Brooke is.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they were shooting lots of content with the TaylorMade athletes, with some YouTubers that are signed with them, Grant Horvat and Micah. And they ran through a number of different things. But the one I was looking forward to, and I'd heard hints of it happening back in December, was this one with Micah Morris. Now, the cool part about this, and I encourage people to go to our website and you can watch it there. We've got it embedded into a post. This is probably the most relaxed I've seen Brooke in a corporate environment. And being a corporate environment, I mean, here's a situation where it's in front of the camera. It's not scripted. And I think she really enjoyed herself. And I'd like to talk
Yeah.
to her at some point about it and how it went for her. But you could just tell she was just like, it was just like playing with her friends.
Mm-hmm.
And she did really, really well with it. Conversations were good. She had her own questions back and forth, and it seemed very natural, very genuine. So yeah, it's great to see. I mean, who knows? Maybe one day when she's off the tour, she'll have her own YouTube channel, or maybe she'll have one before then. Who knows?
Maybe her and Brittany will have one together.
There you go. That could be an idea. But yeah, if people want to go check it out, it's some fun content, and yeah, I think they'll
Surprised they
see it.
actually haven't done something yet. I mean, I know they're probably busy with the golf side of things right now, but
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole Henderson sisters thing. I mean,
Hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, especially if you look at somebody like the Bryan brothers,
mm-hmm.
Wesley Bryan, obviously a PGA Tour winner, and George Bryan, their channel's kind of blowing up. But I think Wesley's more of a part-time tour player,
Yeah.
not getting into as many events and stuff like that. Where Brooke's schedule is obviously pretty difficult. But you would think at some point, maybe her agency, they would just work on capturing some of that stuff to create her own channel, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that soon. So maybe you heard it here first. Jeff has sort of cracked the egg
There we go.
and got them going. But I certainly, it would get a lot of attention. I know, just even her third place finish. I think we had a Facebook post that had like 1,300 likes on it, just the little snippet of that. So obviously there's a fan base that's out there, and certainly it could be another way to get her brand out there as well. So
For sure. Now the
yeah,
LPGA Drive On Championship is this week. Brooks in the field, but
yeah,
so is Maudemy LeBlanc, which is really great because she's returning to the tour after 6 months away because of an injury.
yeah,
That's pretty phenomenal,
yeah.
and exciting for her.
Won
And
over in her first round, and she's been itching to get back. I've been following Maudemy on her social media stuff for the last little while. She's been busy trying to rehab and get ready to go. Obviously, it didn't make sense to come back at the very end of the year.
no,
You're going to use up that sort of status that you've got, so she chose to wait and carry it over to the start of this season. But swing looks fabulous. She's been doing a lot of work on it, and yeah, just nice to see her back in the mix.
yeah,
Obviously, she has a long history. We've had a long history with her, covering
oh
her
for
back in
sure.
her Golf Quebec days, going back 20 years. So good to see. And then Savannah Girl, who opened her LPGA Tour membership with a 74. But yeah, it's her first start as an LPGA Tour member, and nice to see another fresh face there. And then hopefully we'll have a couple other players in the field in some future events, in Elena Sharp and Maddie Zarek as well. So we've got 5 LPGA members from
It's
Canada this
excellent.
year.
It's
Yeah.
I'm sensing a theme of what I'm looking at from our news content
Mm-hmm.
this week. Again, more Canadians.
And with good finishes too.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like just recently too at the Hero Dubai Desert Classic. You know,
Yeah, Aaron Cockrell. I mean, tied for fourth there, and that was against a big field. I mean, Rory won the title for the fourth time, but Aaron picked up 500,000 Canadian there, and then what the big thing from there is, he really set himself up at the start of the year. He won
Yeah.
about 350,000 euros, which is equivalent to about 500,000 Canadian, and the more that he can do that early on in the season, because he's got
You're not
access now.
chasing it later.
Correct, exactly. So he can lock up his card a lot earlier. He was 72nd in the Race to Dubai rankings last year, but it was thanks to some later finishes that really helped him go up there. But if he can boost himself up to the top, and then if he has some weeks off to spend with his family, that's perfectly fine as far as his schedule. But he's not gonna sweat it out as much as he has had to do for the
Yeah.
last 4 years on the European tour, and he's in his fifth year now. And but that also, because of the strength of the field for those events that he's able to get access to now, his world rankings are starting to climb as well. And
Perfect.
he jumped from 286 up to 219 after this week. So starting to crack into that mark. I mean, we've got a whack of Canadians that are in the top 100, and the fact is, if he keeps playing like that in these big events, he can work himself up there more as well, and potentially have some other opportunities.
Yeah, it's funny because I always say that when I play, if I can get a couple birdies early in my round,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm good. I'm good for the rest of the day. Because I mean, for me, I'm not worried about shooting 66 because usually most of
No.
my golf is casual golf. So when I go out play casual golf, if I can get, a couple birdies in the first 4 or 5 holes, 5 or 6 holes, I'm locked in for the rest of the day. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm shooting. I know I'm shooting in the 70s, and if
Yeah.
I could put it in the 70s at the end of an 18-hole round, I'm happy. If I don't get a
Yeah.
couple birdies early on, and I'm dragging like 3 or 4 or 5 over in
Yeah.
the front nine, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't make more than 3 or 4 bogeys on the
Right.
backside to stay under
Yeah.
80 because it's always my goal when I play
Yeah.
anymore is I want to play well, but I want to be under 80. I always want to be in the 70s. It just feels right to have. Oh, would you shoot 78, 79?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
usually what I tell everybody because it's usually what I shoot.
Yeah, I think the
Um,
mentality for these players, I mean, yeah, the faster they can put themselves in a good position, the better. Otherwise, the pressure just mounts. We've seen it over the years where all of a sudden a player misses, 5, 6, 7 cuts in a row, and it really gets hard mentally
mhm.
to get themselves there. And you watch we'll say for an example, I mean, it's now the PGA Tour Americas, but if you'd watch the PGA Tour Canada money list, where it was the top 60 would get into the finals and retain a card. Um, if players got down to the last couple of events and they had the pressure on them, I mean, it's
Mhm.
really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And it just becomes that much harder to relax and do your own thing. Your brain just starts going otherwise. So, same thing. I mean, everybody that's out there knows that, all of a sudden, if you get behind the 8 ball and you're out playing your round of golf, you're not expecting to birdie the last two.
No, no, and I'll tell you this right now: if they get to that point during the season where they're that desperate to make it happen at the end of the year, I
Mm.
guarantee there's an extra 6 wraps of tape underneath those grips, lighten that grip pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, other Canadians finishing in the top 10. Adam Hadwin tied for sixth at the Amex. Stephen
Yeah.
Ames tied for eighth at the Mitsubishi Electric Classic.
Yes.
So
So again, great. Another
Adam
more top.
Hadwin, loving
Yeah.
what's going on there too. He's got a goal, right? He has a very specific goal in that he's trying to achieve, and
Yeah.
he's doing the right things to get it done early. That's for sure.
Yeah, two for three as far as T14 a miscut and then a T6. So 2 for 3 as far as being top 15 in those events. So again, same thing. Really working hard towards being that President's Cup, getting a win for sure. He wants to get
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in
but
the
he wants to earn
winner's
that. He
circle.
wants to earn that spot too. He doesn't
Yeah,
want to.
yeah,
He doesn't put in a position where he's like
yeah,
15th or 16th on that list and
yeah,
forcing Mike Weir's hand to kind of either pick him or not pick him. He
yeah.
wants to earn his spot directly, and I think that's good. I think that's
Yeah, it's
really
just
good.
fun. It's just fun every week when all of a sudden, you're getting top 10 finishes and Canadians that are in contention on, LPGA Champions Tour, Corn Ferry Tour, everything all the way through. It's just, it shows the strength and how things are building as
Yeah,
far as the Canadians. Because, granted, we're still a small country.
yeah, for sure.
We are a big golf country. We are one of the largest ones as far as a golf country, as far as number of courses. But, from a population perspective, when you're trying to compare it against something like the US or, England or Korea, for an example, that are, diehard, it's really difficult to compete. So it's just showing that, we have a flood of golfers that are coming up.
Yeah, and to that note too, Hughes, Silverman, Svensson, Sloan, and Pendrith all in action this week on the Farmers Insurance Open on the PGA Tour too. So that's good to see that many in the field.
It started on Wednesday. It started early this week, so it didn't compete against the NFL games on the Sunday.
NFL,
So at this point, Mackenzie Hughes is tied for 10th through 36 holes. So
I'm looking forward to watching some of the NFL divisional playoffs, Eminem versus Taylor Swift. Well, at least that's the social media
why? I mean,
stuff going on. Like I wouldn't even tired of it. I'm tired of it. Like
I would not even pay attention to that. That's for sure. I just ignore that.
Anyway, there's also 5 Canadians have appeared in the top 20 of the latest GolfWeek Girls Junior Rankings too, right?
Yeah, which is again another barometer to show the strength of Canadian golf and where it's going. I mean, the boys are going to have to pick up their pace here a little bit. We've got a lot that have gone on to college, but the next great batch of junior boys needs to kind of pick up the pace because these 5 girls, Vanessa Voravilis, she came in at 6. Yeji Kwan, who's about to jump into the college ranks at Baylor, she's number 12. Michelle Liu, who actually just committed to go to Harvard. Michelle, obviously familiar to us, is somebody I got to help caddy for at the CP Women's Open at Ottawa Hunt. She comes in at 13. Aphrodite Deng, who's actually a Canadian but living down in New Jersey now, she came in at 14. And then Anna Huang from out in BC was number 20. So pretty impressive. There's a few more going further down. And I'll mention something here too, which is actually kind of interesting to see the development of these players. And I'm going to throw a number at you and I'm going to see what your reaction is. So Vanessa Boravilis at the Team Canada Next Gen Development Camp. So this is an ID camp that takes place annually, identifies players that could possibly be working their way into the national team program. That Next Gen program, which is basically kind of we'll call it junior varsity, which, Carly Mayer from Lansdowne is on that team, Next Gen. So Vanessa in the testing protocols. So I got access to all the data and I was looking at it. Vanessa was second in maximum club head speed for the driver test. She came in at 105. So 105 miles an hour. Jeff's like going, oh, okay, that's pretty good.
Faster than me.
It's LPGA average is only 95, so 105 is pretty impressive. But number one, and I'm not going to name the player because she didn't make the team, but she's a potential contender at some point. She's only 14 years old. What do you think her max club head speed was? And this is not the game where we were promising.
122
for a 14-year-old girl.
I don't know.
117.
Wow, I mean, okay, you laughed, and I was only 5.
Well, there's a difference between 5's a lot.
Well, what did you think I was going to say? 108?
I don't know.
Like I had to.
Maybe
if Vanessa was 105, and you're bringing this up, obviously it's going to be a high number, so I had to throw one out there. I was about to say 130, so I feel better saying 122 because then it's closer to 117.
The fastest of the boys was 127, to let you know, but 117. I mean, this just shows you where things are going with some of these athletes. I mean, the fact that we've got a 14-year-old girl swinging 117 miles an hour for a max club head speed, which, I will tell you right now is just over the PGA Tour average. So that shows you where some of these athletes are coming up and getting stronger and getting better. They're getting more talented in a number of things. But I will say, among all the players that were tested, in the putting side of things, there were only, I think, 7 or so that were positive strokes gained. So go work on your putting, people, because that is where the weakness, the downfall was for all these players more than anything. So swing fast, but make some putts. So
shocking.
That's exactly it. So
it really is not shocking.
No, it isn't. And I talk about it a fair bit because I say to people all the time, are you a good putter? And a lot of people say, oh yeah, I'm a great putter. I'm like, well, they think they're a good putter because they probably haven't hit a putt out of bounds. Whereas, a tee shot, you get that dramatic shot where you hit out of bounds, but you go and watch them and see what they do and they're putting. And, again, it doesn't take a lot of physical talent to putt. Obviously there's technique involved. There's a lot of different things involved, but it's probably the lowest hanging fruit in all of golf where people can improve and get better. And it's, while it's exciting for some people to spend their time on the putting green working on things, sometimes they still kind of put themselves into a false sense of security that they're actually better than they actually are. So yeah,
I think it's interesting to note why more of them don't spend more time on their putting. It's by far the easiest of the disciplines in golf to spend time working on, because you can go pretty much to any golf course that's not private and roll up and drop some balls and hit some pots. So I mean, and it's easy. There's all kinds of stuff that's easy to work on when you're on the putting green, as opposed to swing. You can work on your swing, but if you haven't got the video out there, if you haven't got somebody watching it or critiquing it, it's very difficult to find something to change that you can actually work on the driving range. Putting, you can work on your stroke, you can work on your alignment, and you don't necessarily need a putting coach with you. Not now, but I mean, to help you with that. So putting is short game, working on bunker shots, chipping, anything around the greens is so easy to work on, and why people don't spend more time working on it.
Because it's not as sexy as hitting a long ball and the full swing and really in
is
the
it
end,
sexy shooting 110 people?
Well, yeah, that's
no,
the
it's
key
not.
thing. So
you think it's sexy telling your buddies that you shot 110? No, no, it's not at all.
So the advice is, the next time you're doing a group clinic and the instructor stands at the front and asks you if you're a good putter, don't put up your hand and say you're a good putter.
Yeah,
because chances are you're probably not.
No. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We got to take a break.
Let's do that.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into PGA Merchandise Show talk, because there's lots going on there. And obviously we're not going to talk about it all, but we'll talk about a lot of it. And we're going to play a little game. And then we'll send you all home.
Sounds good.
Well, we don't send you home. We'll go home. I'll move on to something else. Okay, we're taking a break. You're listening to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
When you golf on Prince Edward Island, there are over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Not to mention countless miles of pristine beaches and a rich world-class culinary experience. So get here fast, then take it slow and play around on Island Time. Golf Prince Edward Island.
Well, we're back. And I just had off air there, I just had a major sneezing fit. So I'm kind of glad you had to sort some things out before we jump back on air here, because I don't know what was going on there. There's no cats in my office, so it can't be that. Anyway, I'm good now, though. I'm good. Right. I'm ready to go.
Glad to hear it.
I'm ready to dive in. I know I did it on purpose this time. Sorry. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a reactionary
$2 in the dive-in jar.
I should. You know what? That's right. You know what we should do? We should have that. Jar. We should have a dive-in jar. And every time I say it, I drop a loony or a toonie into the jar. And
so what are the phrases?
That'll be it.
What are the phrases besides dive in that drive you nuts? And I've got a couple myself, but are there any particular ones from a golf perspective that
from a golf perspective?
And I have another one that's dive.
Oh my gosh,
because there's cliches. So deep dive is one that drives me nuts.
Deep dive,
because again, it's overused. It's like, hey, we'll take a deep dive into this topic, and it's okay. Where are you diving to? So,
well, what was the one we used to? I don't know if it's so much a golf one, but there was the one we used to just go crazy over it. I think it was more of a football one.
I'm not even sure.
Oh my god, it was.
I don't know.
It was crazy. Yeah.
The other one that I get that I'm trying to was used so much in the 1990s, and I've railed to try to remove it from my vocabulary in all things golf writing, golf discussion is hidden gem. Overused cliche, terrible one. And it's like, okay, just be a little bit more creative. Yeah.
I mean, through the whole last sort of 2 or 3 years with the COVID stuff, I got tired of people saying we're pivoting. I mean, and that's not even a
when you say people, do you mean yourself?
No, I don't think I used that one that much.
I think we all use that one.
I used evolve.
Much.
I used evolve a lot.
Oh, you used pivot.
Pivot was just and I probably used, maybe if I used it, I don't remember using it that much, but
Ross, are we pivoting? Pivot.
Yeah.
It's the Friends reference. Anyways.
I guess. Yeah.
All right. Let's pivot and dive into the back nine.
You're an idiot.
Thank you.
Presented this week by Celtic Golf Center. Located 20 minutes from Ottawa, Kemptville, Celtic Golf Center is indoor golf on another level, featuring 5 state-of-the-art TrackMan simulators and 2 new Unicore sims with GS Pro. Celtic Golf Center can offer you 10,000 golf courses possibly to play, including many major courses and some with island greens and beautiful azaleas. Play rounds with friends, practice with full swing analysis, or play golf games. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more or book tee times.
Do you do that with a straight face when you say the island greens and beautiful?
I do, because
we all know what it means.
Hey, look, if you're listening to me say that and you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you need to pivot.
You're not a golfer.
You need to pivot.
Okay. All right.
Because that's pretty self-explanatory, but I can't say really. Anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
PGA
well, we're in the back nine now.
Yeah.
And we want to talk PGA show. Oh my God. Okay. It's PGA show week.
Yeah.
It is PGA show week.
Closing up today.
Talked a little bit about getting into PGA show week this week. This is it is. I mean, it used to go right to Sunday, didn't it?
Sunday originally, way back in the day. So 1992 or 3 was my first one, and basically the show would open on Thursday. There was no demo day back then.
Right.
It would open on Thursday, go Friday, go Saturday, and there would be a half day on Sunday. Eventually, nobody was there on Sunday. People were flying out, half day, golfing, wouldn't use it, play golf, whatever the case may be. So they backed it up, got away from the weekend. Or got away from the Sunday, got away from the Saturday. Now it's the floor time is Wednesday, Thursday, part day on Friday, which again a lot of people just avoid. Doesn't matter what you do with you'd go in there and your last morning, if you needed to clear up a couple of things, you do that. But now also they have the demo day on Tuesday, which is really a big thing. They do have an indoor demo center,
but it's not the same.
It's not the same. I mean, you've got that 360-degree range at Orange County National, Winter Garden, where they set up. You get a chance to go out there and test things off the grass. So that's become a big event now. I think the demo day has been running, 12, 13, 14 years now, something like that. But certainly you might as well count it for a day. You're maybe not doing business as much. You're not sitting down and doing bookings or so forth, but it's a day where you can walk around, hit the product, chat to some different people. There's obviously a number of celebrity appearances, people that are, testing stuff. It's just more of a, a casual environment. I will say this year, they did have some issues, I guess, with like the Wi-Fi. So at the gate, so basically there was massive lineups going in because they couldn't get the registration stuff all done or whatever. So I heard that from a few people, but hey, you know what? The weather was beautiful, because there's been some years where we got chased off the range, or because the wind was so bad, or
I remember that
incoming. There was 1 year where it was literally a tornado was threatened.
You weren't able to hit drivers from one side of the range because you could go through.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
and that's not normal, but
no, because it's 400 yards across. But yeah, then another year that it was literally a tornado warning, and everybody had to evacuate. And tents were flying everywhere. And
I remember that.
It's been something over the years, but yeah, it's still a significant show. It's obviously growing more, during the COVID period. One, it was shut down, and two, it was a little quieter, especially in the last year. They had about 1,000 exhibitors this year, attendees from 80 countries, and I think early numbers say the attendance is up about 15% this year over last year.
Mm-hmm.
And people said there was definitely a little bit more of a buzz about it than there has been in quite some time.
That's good. That's good. And
Yeah.
obviously one of the big nights down there during the PGA show was when they started doing Canada Night down there. And that was always a big deal for us Canadians to have our own little soiree, if you will. The
Get
awards,
together.
PGA of Canada did the national awards winner presentations.
Yeah.
And that was always a big deal. And for all accounts, that seemed to go very, very well this year again.
Yeah, you get a few hundred Canadians that are in there. I mean, they made some mistakes the very first part. I don't know if you remember the very first year they ran out of beer, which is a huge mistake.
I remember that. Yeah,
when it is a room full of Canadians,
cannot run out of beer in a room full of Canadians.
They vowed that would not happen ever again, and it has not. And thankfully, PGA of Canada put on a successful night. I think Cabot was the title sponsor there and helping out that night. And you get a few hundred Canadians all get together. Everybody's busy running around during the show. You do run into a lot of people, but more or less during the they're in the aisles and so forth. You have your quick handshake, you stop for a couple seconds, but everybody has to go on to do their other things. Whereas the PGA of Canada night, there's a lot of times you just end up at tables, you end up randomly chatting with somebody from the Canadian golf industry that maybe you haven't talked to before, or maybe you haven't seen in 10 years. So it's like a big reunion. It's like going to a big family reunion, and it makes for a fun night. Depending, you might get somebody cornering you and want to chat for a long, long time, and
then you don't get to do much else. That's the other difficulty to it, is you get locked into one person for a good chunk of the night, and you kind of want to spread around the room a little bit, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, but I heard there was some great speeches. I actually saw a few of them online as well. Some very touching ones, people winning those national awards, and very well deserved. So congratulations to all the winners there.
Cool. All right, now let's get into some of the product. Obviously, there's too much to get into a lot, and some of the stuff, we've kind of touched on some of the more major ones, I guess would be the point. But interesting that I'm not going to say if there was a theme to the PGA show this year, because this certainly wasn't the theme of the PGA show, but one of the themes or the angles or the areas of interest was brand revival. Which is kind of cool. I mean, when you look at how many years we've going to the PGA show, and some of these companies came on the scene with their launches at the PGA show. And not necessarily the first time that a brand there's been an attempt to revive a brand and then have it disappear again, not completely, but kind of go away for a little bit, and then come back into the fold again. But let's talk first about never compromise putters. I mean this was a new product years ago. It did a little bit. It did a little bit, and I mean, sometimes it surprises you that a brand comes back. Sometimes it surprises you who brought the brand back, because you sometimes expect some of the more popular brands popular products from years past might have been owned already by one of the more major companies, and that they brought the brand back within their line to do something, kind of how how you have Callaway Golf, and then you've got Odyssey putters, right? I kind of thought, well, maybe this will come back, but maybe it'll come back under the brand, under a different company. I was a little surprised to see what it was, because
Well,
but
SRI, which is Sumitomo Rubber, and Dunlop Sports is a massive company. I
yes,
mean,
they
people have
are.
to realize, and I think a lot of people underappreciate how large they are in the golf industry and the number of brands that are under their umbrella on top of, everything else that they do. The Dunlop Sports umbrella, which was basically created now to oversee things like ASICS and Cleveland and Zrixon. They've owned the rights to Never Compromise for a number of years. They just haven't done anything with the brand. And Never Compromise goes back to the 1990s. These black and gray putters, they came out big on tour when players like Vijay Singh were using them. I mean, they were one of those things, because people should realize that tour players are a lot like the average player. The things happen on tour that get trendy, that one player sees another player playing it. You know what? Understand that a lot of the PGA Tour players are not the most technically sophisticated players. They like to look at things that are trendy, and other guys are using it and they're having success, or other women are playing it and having success. And oh, well, maybe I'll try that if they're playing it. And that's what happened for Never Compromise. Now, it went under some, business issues up and down over the years. Eventually came under the SRI portfolio, and this was probably one of the biggest surprises of the show. And the fact that all of a sudden, boom, they're bringing these putters back. Now, they're not what the old putters were. They have a very similar look. There's a couple different levels of models that are within them. Obviously incorporate some more modern technologies.
Of course, yeah.
They look great. Priced similar to what you're going to find for top end ones now. But what's nice is that for this company, Zrixon has had putters before. Some people said, oh, well, Zrixon hasn't had putters before. Well, they had, but they weren't super successful. But under that Dunlop Zrixon umbrella, obviously the Cleveland putters, and they've got a new HB Soft one, Soft 2 that's out, which is great, low priced, kind of a great value proposition. This becomes their premium product that is, under that umbrella. So I think there's a position for it, because I think there's a lot of loyalty within those brands, and there's already a trust factor for some people.
Yeah.
We should say, and we're going to get to that a little bit when we start to talk about some of these other brands, is that us in our early 50s, we're very familiar with this brand. We have to recognize this is going to be a brand new brand to a lot of the golfers that are out there.
Yeah, this is smart. This is really smart on their part, because it's my age. I don't know specifically their marketing strategy behind it, but I know for myself, I'm intrigued and I made a switch to got rid of a putter I'd used for a long time, and I switched to using a Cleveland
an HB Soft or a Huntington Beach.
Huntington. And they have the Elite line with the Cleveland putters as well. And I love the putter. But this intrigues me even to the point where I'm like, hey, I mean, Never Compromise. I loved the Never Compromise putters when I was 20.
I mean, there's a two-pronged thing here. There's the nostalgia factor, but also, Zrixon has become an emerging brand among newer golfers.
Very much so.
The quality of their irons that they're well known for. So as a result of it, that golfer would be more likely to say, oh, well, it's under this umbrella. I'd be interested in trying it, even though I'm not familiar with the brand, because they're going to look at it and say, oh, I know the quality of Zrixon, so this must be equivalent. So yeah, you're right. I think it's a smart move.
I love the move. I think it's great. Okay. Well, good for them. I'm looking forward to seeing how that all works out. I'm sure that I'll have some conversations shortly with the Canadian arm of that company, Mint Green Group, to which we have a very, very, very good relationship with. So we'll be talking shortly with them about some things. So another brand that was always a favorite of mine is Ashworth. And
which has been around for the last
that's the one. When I said that there was companies that have been, they hadn't disappeared, but and then I look at the the images of the hoodie, and I see the Golf Man, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking of my AM 1020s. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
Everybody had to have these golf shirts were heavier than you could possibly imagine.
50-pound golf
You would
shirts with
not want to
sleeves
wear
that
one of
below
these
your
on
elbow.
one of those 30
Yeah.
degree, 32
No.
degree days in the middle of the summer. But
No way.
everybody had to have their AM 1020 in some color. And I think I had a white one with red on the armbands and the
I'm not even
collar.
going to tell you how many I had.
And you had the little Ashworth with the Golf Man.
Yep.
That was, man.
Yeah.
Hit the Golf Man on you. You're a golfer if you have the Ashworth golf with the Golf Man on.
Yeah,
like,
you look at the Freddie Couples and Ernie Els.
Yeah.
These are the ambassadors for that era.
Yes.
You know, that mid 90s, and you know when we were in retail, obviously we sold a lot of this product.
Yes.
And I mean, it was the product that people wanted. So yeah, it was interesting when I posted pictures of the hoodies. People were just going
Golf
nuts.
Man.
Yeah, like some people were like, well, what's this? And then, but the other people are like, take all my money. I want that now. I don't care.
I'm emptying my bank account. How much is it?
Yeah.
Like whatever. I don't care.
I think the funniest one was a couple people were making reference to their golf pros from the 1990s and saying, oh, this brings me back to his pro shop back in the day or whatever.
Full of Ashworth.
Yeah, and maybe they couldn't afford it when they were a junior, but they can afford it now. And you know, it's like 118 US for one of these hoodies. They're not cheap.
I can't wait to see how many people I see floating around in the spring and with the Ashworth Golf Man hoodies. Like I'm it's gonna be hilarious. I might be one of them. I'm probably gonna be one of them.
I mean, I'm gonna guess, one, it was popular at the show. I'm going to guess there's a lot of people that probably wanted to buy stuff right in the booth. Right there, right away.
Or just take it.
There's just a level of nostalgia there, right? More than anything. And
I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. Never compromise putters, Ashworth, Golf Man hoodies. What's next? What else? What else, Scott?
Well, Jeff.
As you mentioned.
Yeah. So if we look at so there's a company called Golf Brands Inc. that's out of Henderson, Nevada, and we'll call it a company that has taken the opportunity to basically snap up some legacy brands, some companies that have had some issues over the years, but they've been able to kind of take the brands, recreate new product stuff for them, maybe at a different pricing level, and kind of sell them at more of the, we'll call it an everyman price. And three of the brands that they were showcasing around the PGA show were Ram, Teardrop, and Ben Hogan. So, I mean, again,
it brings a tear to my eye.
Going back to nostalgia, this is, square in the wheelhouse of when Never Compromise and Ashworth were having success. And now Hogan's been around in various iterations. We've heard more about them in the last number of years, but Ram, not so much. Teardrop, definitely not so much. And for some people that are listening to this podcast, they're going to have to go and Google these just to look them up, because they're not going to be familiar with the brands in any possible way.
No.
Teardrop was a putter brand that was
the roll face putter.
It was a roll face putter, and if you look at the putter shape on the side, it actually looks like a teardrop. That's where it's got its name from. Again, had some ups and downs over the years from a business standpoint. Ram, very historic brand, been around for a long time. And
you remember those blades?
Oh,
you had those blades, man. Those things
were
the
FX
knives.
blades.
You could shave with those things. They're like, look at the sharpness.
I don't have an expectation when I was looking through the products here that we're going to see the highest quality product that maybe we saw in the past from some of these brands. And I think the biggest thing from them is wondering, one, where do they fit? And I think they're going to be used to have a fair bit of mid-priced product. There's some talk about some box sets and things like that, which again, there's a demand for those products. My thing though is that if somebody's getting into the game and they're buying a box set, I don't know if these brands have much nostalgia for them or whatever. So what I'm wondering overall is, do we think there's enough brand equity or goodwill left to make these brands successful? And really, when I say successful, I mean, I guess it depends on what their expectations are.
Well, I guess that's really what it comes down to. So for me, if you're if you're the one that's hanging, you're the company that's hanging on to these nostalgic brands that had so much notoriety back in the day.
Yeah.
And I mean, with Ram, the wedges, the irons that they
Oh yeah,
had.
Tom Watson played them.
Tom
He
Watson.
was the big
Was Nick Price
showcase.
playing them too?
Nick Price played the FX blades. Yeah, there was lots
and
of
teardrop putters was big. Hogan Hogan irons, especially when they had the Hogan Apex, and then they had the Apex 2s, and they had like these are big brands. So my feeling is, and look, I'm not in the manufacturing industry,
it's
so
just an opinion.
This is personal opinion. If they're going to bring these products back, as mid to low end box set deals, kind of to fall into the Tommy Armour. Tommy Armour did this.
Yeah, same kind of thing.
I think, if they sell them at retailers, like when I'm not talking about like golf
you're talking
retailers,
you're talking about the Walmarts. And
I'm talking about the Walmarts, the Canadian Tires,
the
if that's what it's going to be, or the online thing, then I think that you're just going to sell what you're going to sell because it's a box set and it's priced right and people buy it. I don't think they're going to buy the brand
because of the brand. Yeah, I agree.
Now you might get some parents that will buy it for their kids based on the brand, like because that's what I played Rams when I was a kid. I'm going to get my kids some Rams. You might get a little bit of that if they were to. And maybe that's the smart business move, because if they were to do it the other way, where let's say you're
trying for the premium market.
You're trying to jump into the premium market by bringing back the Ram.
I don't think they're going to.
I don't think you can do that.
Yeah,
so
no.
Whereas when you look at what SRI is doing with Never Compromise, SRI already has Strixon. They already have Cleveland. They already have high-end
A6 shoes.
Yes. So bringing the Never Compromise putter back and putting it into the fold and putting it out in the market against high-end putters, it's an easy transition to revive a brand within a product line that you already have established at that level. So if
they have that they already have that position within the retail stores that they can supplement,
and the sales force that's selling to the green grass.
Right.
If you're if you're golf brands and you're trying to bring back Ram, Teardrop, and Hogan products, well, I think you have to bring it back at the lower priced retail store online purchase level as a almost with Teardrop. It's almost like a gimmicky putter to be sold at retail to people who go, oh, that's pretty cool. I'll buy one of those for $49.95 or $99.95 or whatever. Like that's
definitely. Yeah, they're definitely a little bit pricier than that, I think, from what I saw. But I think the Hogan brand still has some cachet, and I think, but I think part of that is because the whole premise from Hogan right from the start from the company was just high quality and all that stuff or whatever. But I'm expecting a little higher end stuff. Not all the way premium, but probably a lot of direct to consumer goods as far as from the Hogan perspective. There's a couple of irons. I haven't seen the one new iron that's in there, or two new irons actually. But I'm not expecting super, super high end. But like you said, I'm expecting more of a sporting goods level product for the Ram and the Teardrop stuff, probably.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too, is it's not going to be a premium pro shop type product with fitting carts and all that stuff.
No,
I think it's just going to be off the rack, custom fit as much as you can, but
and that's hard too. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, there's less and less of the green grass retailers, selling product. And when it comes down to it, you've got limited shelf space. So as a result of it, the mistake made by a lot of those people is that they get into too many different brands. Yes, they may not want to have something that competes with somebody down the street, but you've also got to have stuff that when people are walking in the door, they're actually asking for. And I've seen that mistake a number of times. I've walked in a number of pro shops where they have a little bit of a lesser brand for a golf balls or whatever the case may be. They're like, oh, we're going to sell these because of this. But if nobody's coming in and asking for them, it doesn't matter how much extra margin you're going to make, because you're not turning the product over. So you have to sell what people are asking for.
Not at all. Okay.
Yeah.
So what else do we want to cover PGA show related before we get into your little game?
Sure. Just a couple of quick notes, just some couple of things from the show. Yamaha was showing off a prototype of a hydrogen powered cart. which is kind of interesting because it still uses an internal combustion system, but not carbon emitting. And again, this is just a prototype. They say they're kind of working on this project and trying to push their way forward with it, and lots more research and stuff to be done. I think that the cart that they were showing was like it was like a 4-person cart, and it has like 2 25-liter hydrogen tanks that are in it. Interesting technology. We'll kind of see where things go. People think sometimes this golf show is just all about golf clubs, but there's a lot more to it than that. This is people that are coming, golf course operators, looking at software systems, everything that, food and beverage stuff, signage, everything they can possibly do to operate their golf course. So these are sort of some of the things that are, they're maybe not as exciting to some people, but they're definitely an integral part of the show. And it's important to look at this stuff and where it's going. And technology continues to grow on that side of it, the business side of it. For the superintendents, the OVTA just had their seminar and show here in Ottawa this past week. So that, again, showcasing more software and technology and stuff like that. And that theme continued obviously down at the PGA show, more technology and various new launch monitors, software upgrades to the launch monitors, more use of things like AI, for an example, upgraded and AI in a certain way. It's basically AI in the way that it's just like it's evolved power in more computing power, so that we look at software that automatically you can will draw lines on a particular a golf swing video or a particular type thing. Again, they're not replacing a coach or whatever. There might be automatic tracers for your videos, for the shots that are on a launch monitor or whatever. More use and integration into launch monitors for the use of like swing trainers, so that they measure them properly.
So lots
more
of
coaching tools, lots of tech, lots of software, and more things to come with this. A lot of things that are shown in January, not necessarily going to get out to the market today, but we'll see it trickle out over the year. So a good week.
All right. So that kind of it doesn't wrap up our PGA show talk. We'll probably more talking about more stuff next week, but it wraps up our talk for this week on PGA Merchandise Show. So while we got a few minutes here, let's quickly get into this pro Spotify game, and then we'll wrap things up. So just let's bang into this. Whatever. Tell us what this is. Let's get through it, and before we run out of time.
So obviously super popular at the end of the year. A lot of people listen to Spotify for their music. At the end of the year, they get a summary of kind of, who's their top artist. So what I wanted to do was kind of throw out 5 names and get our guesses of what we think their top music artist or genre would be on the end of their Spotify Wrapped for this past year. We'll each give a guess at it based on whatever we thought. So let's start with Brooke Henderson. What do you think's her top artists?
Luke Bryan.
Oh, okay. So she's country girl, right? You're thinking country girl. Okay, I like that. I would probably go very similar. I know she's a big Reba fan, so I'm going to guess there's a Reba that's on there, or maybe some soft pop like a Billie Eilish or something like that. That's what I'd go with for there. Nick Taylor, our defending Canadian Open champion.
Nick Taylor.
This could be a tougher guess, I think.
I'm going to say, good Lord. I don't even know where to go here. I'm not up on my pop because I don't listen to it that much, but
maybe it's not pop. Maybe it's death metal. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm going to say Eminem.
Ooh, Nick Taylor with the Eminem. This is one
I was going to say it for Scotty Scheffler, but I'm going to say it for Nick Taylor.
I'm going to ask Nick about that sometime. Nick, I'm going to go. He's a pretty low key guy, and now he's a family guy too. I'm going to go like a acoustic sort of vibe. I'm going to give him like a Jack Johnson or something like that.
Whatever.
And you're like, who? Yeah, so I'll go with that. But you know what I'll do is I'll venture in the next little while, maybe over the next year, and opportunities to talk to some of these players. Maybe we'll try and figure out what they actually like. Scotty Scheffler, Texas guy.
Yeah, this has got to be country. I'm gonna say, oh my gosh, Toby Keith, or not Toby Keith.
Keith.
No, not Toby Keith. Not Keith Urban.
Keith Urban, the Australian country guy. I'm gonna go Morgan Wallen or Zach Bryan. I'll stick with the country theme. Texas guy through and through. So again, I have no idea what his preferences are, but we'll go with it from there. Two more. Lydia Ko.
No clue.
No clue.
I had no clue. Lydia Ko. God. Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. Okay. I'm just gonna go straight out. I'm gonna think she's a Swiftie. I mean, I think that's an obvious one. Would probably.
Well, I know Brooke's not. I mean, I don't know, but I'm like 99% sure Brooke Henderson is not a Swiftie, so that's why I didn't go there. But yeah, I could see Lydia go.
I think Lydia. I mean, I think Swiftie will cover off a lot of people, so we'll just go with that and make it easy. And then I've got an advantage on this one, but I'll go Rory McIlroy for you, and I have an advantage because I've had this discussion with him a bunch of years ago. So
I don't even know. I mean, Rory. You do these games
for exactly this.
I have no clue. Rory. God, I feel like he's
well, even a genre. What do you think? Like a genre. You don't have to name a
I think he's alternative. Like I think he's kind of alternative music. So I mean, I think like kind of like a Green Day or
I'm
gonna say Green Day.
Okay. All right.
Something like that.
I will tell you. I do on this one or whatever. He loves kind of setting the mood for himself with this. He either uses music to pump himself up or quiet himself down, and so he likes to have music in his earbuds on the range and stuff like that. He's big on house and hip hop, believe it or not. And I'm gonna throw in probably something like a Calvin Harris or Avicii or something like that, get him all fired up for his rounds of golf. And so
all right,
there we go.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Someday we'll find out the true answers to those questions, and we'll share them with you. Find out just how many I had wrong. Probably 5 out of 5. Good thing there's nothing on the line. All right. Well, that's a wrap for us for this episode of the Flagstick podcast. Reminder that the registration for the Flagstick Open, presented by TaylorMade and Adidas, is now open to everybody. And spots are dwindling quickly. There are not very many left, I can tell you that for sure, but you can get on the waiting list, and the waiting list is usually pretty long. But I will say this, that a good chunk of the waiting list always gets in because there always are cancellations for a number of different reasons. Heck, I had people register and then cancel 2 days later.
I saw one already,
because they want to get in so bad, and then they realize they can't play. So it's all good. If you register now and you don't know, oh God, I'm not going to be able to play, register, because we'll probably have no problem filling your spot, and you'll get a full refund and all that kind of stuff. So don't stress about that. Don't worry about that. Just get yourself into the field as fast as possible.
You got it.
All right. Well, that's about it. Thanks to our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, and of course, our presenting sponsor again this week, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences. The easiest golf vacation you will ever book. Book those golf vacations and tee times at golfpei.ca. Hopefully you've been enjoying hearing and watching this again this week. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, click the notification bell, and make sure that you never miss a single episode ever. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every single day. And sign up for the Flagstick Digest newsletter so you get that same content delivered directly to your inbox 3 days a week. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. But until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
And I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.